So we'll go through this agenda, and then at the end, the key thing we'll want to hear is get some questions from you, and which we shall be ready to answer. And feel free to ask your questions at any point. Any questions that you have, there's no bad question that one can ask. Yeah, so the agenda is, as you can see here, introduction, and then why PMP matters. We'll go through, explain why PMP is important. Then we'll talk about our training course, what sets our PMP training apart from the others. And then we'll also get a sneak preview of just what our PMP program entails. We shall also talk about exam preparation strategies, like how you can best position yourself to prepare for the PMP exam. And then we'll talk about application and enrollment to our course, and then we'll have our Q&A session at the end, so that you can ask questions that you might have, so that you can also get a chance to answer those questions. Yeah, so about Knowledge Space, the company that is hosting this, we are a trusted leader in professional development. We aspire to empower individuals and teams through industry-aligned training, because our trainings, we always want our trainings to be industry-aligned, that it's something that you find relevant in your respective industries. We are committed to elevating careers through globally recognized certifications, and among them is PMP, something that I'm passionate about. We also focused on practical instructor-led trainings, which bridge the gap between theory and real-world project management. Like what you'll notice is that you can go to a classroom and learn project management, but you want skills that you can apply practically in the field, like in your respective work environments, or even in your personal day-to-day lives. That is something you can apply practically. So this is what we aspire to give to our students, or our candidates, that people get something that is you'll find useful besides getting the certification. And then we are driven by a mission to build confident and certified project leaders. Like you need people who are quite solid and people who can deliver, quite well on projects. So that's about knowledge base. But now, why does PMP matter? Why is it important to have this certification? You'll find that you have global recognition when you're PMP certified. It's a universally respected credential that enhances professional credibility. Just for your information, currently there's about 1.5 million people who are certified, PMP certified globally. Now, this is quite a significant number, and that speaks to the fact that it's a certification that is valued. It's very valuable to those who have it. And then for career advancement, certified professionals will typically experience faster career progression. This is something I've experienced myself, that I tell people I speak to that I got certified in 2013, like roughly about 12 or so or 13 years ago. And since then, I found that I was able to navigate, not only easily within the industry I studied in college, but also I've been able to navigate into other industries that was not my forte per se. But you see, like project management tends to be apply across different industries. So you're not limited to what you studied, let's say in university or in college, the likes. So you find that you get an easier time navigating industry. And then there's earning potential. I mean, it's clear that all of us, in as much as we want to do well in our careers, you also want to have a good income. And so typically, you, as a PMP certified, you tend to have a bit more earning potential than the other people who are not. And so that's something that one would aspire to have. And then also your skill set gets a bit more enhanced. And then just networking opportunities. Like, for example, right now we're here on this call, you'll find people you can start making connections with, and people will interact with post, this session, and post even the instructor-led trainings that we typically have. So you find that you are able to compare notes with your peers, like learn other things from different scenarios, people who are your peers who have different experiences, who you end up now sharing information with. So, and that's just a plus for anyone who is in practice. Just a bit of info about PMP certification eligibility requirements. So there's three options in terms of getting PMP certified. So the first one the one called Set A. You can have an education high school diploma and then 60 months or equivalent of 5 years experience in project management. And then you will also need a CAPM certification, but that you can also go around it by having the hours of training, which our course will be part of those. Like if when you take our course, you will not require this CAPM certification to sit for the PMP. And then there's the B the direction where you need to have a bachelor's degree, which is recognized, like a degree from the university. But with this one, you need 3 years experience within the last 3 years equivalent experience within the last past 8 years. And then you will also need a CAPM certification, or you will need to have done a course like the one you offer for instructor-led training. And then the last one goes a similar way, whereby you have a bachelor's degree from GSC accredited program. I believe this applies mostly for in USA and other countries outside of Africa. But then for this, we'll need 2 years project management experience within the last 8 years. But this one needs to be pre-approved. It's like you'll need to go through some vetting to confirm this eligibility. But more importantly, if you have done a bit of project management, you've done some activities on the projects, and you have done a course, let's say an instructor-led course, you will easily be able to be eligible for sitting the PMP examination. So the exam fee, this is how it scales. So there's if you are a PMI member, the cost of the exam is $405, and then for non-members it's $555. I've seen on PMI website, like the recent few weeks, this for $5 has been reduced to something like 284. It's a discount program they're running at the moment. But so what it means is that if you're a member, you spend less than if you're you spend less than if you're a member, to register to sit for the exam. So what I normally encourage students is that when you are just about to sit for the exam, it's best to register as a member of PMI, even just for that 1 year period. And then you will pay less for the exam, and you also have access to some free materials on the PMI website, materials that you can access and take advantage of some templates, some free templates. You will also get even some ebooks and the likes. Membership is $129 per year, and there's a $10 application fee. So this is one of the first time you apply. So for exam, let's say if you do the exam and you do not, and God forbid you do not pass the first time, to receipt, you pay $275 for a PMI member and $375. And so it means also that if you're a PMI member, it's cheaper if you have to receipt the exam than if you are a non-member. Renewal fee is that's for the certificate. So what normally happens is that once you are PMP certified, you need to renew the certificate every 3 years. The beauty of PMP is that, and PMI certifications for that matter, that I've seen some certifications whereby one needs to receipt the exam. But in this case, like for example, Prince, you have to receipt for the exam. But for this one, you need to accumulate something called PDUs, which are easy to get. Like you attend a training, you can declare as PDUs. Let's say mentor some people, you can declare those as PDUs, and it's quite a number of activities you can do to get these 60 PDUs. So for renewal, for PMI member, you pay $60. That's after 3 years, and for a non-member, it's $150. And then when it comes to training, and this is an important one for those of you who are here who are looking towards getting certified. Training typically it's upwards of 35 hours, which are the ones you declare when you are registering to enroll for the exam. But then you'll notice here that the training typically varies from $300 to $2,000 based on whichever provider it is. But you'll notice that our course, actually, we are currently running it at $149, which is quite heavily discounted even from this $300, which is the lowest actually that you typically will find most people charging. So it's a program we are running for a period of time, and it's something that will highly encourage you to take advantage of because it's quite heavily discounted, and it's just out of our wanting to have as many people get certified as possible because it is quite doable and it's something that adds a lot of value in your career. So what sets up our PMP training apart? We have it's structured outcome-oriented curriculum, quite a structured program. I'm one of the one of the trainers for the program actually, and so it's aligned. This program is aligned with the latest PMI exam content outline, and it's designed to build deep conceptual and practical mastery. Actually, we follow the PMBOK guide. It's the 7th edition, and we have a lot of other content that we go through. Just to ensure that by the end of the course, one is not only you're ready for the exam, but one is able to apply those principles in a real workplace environment. Then we also have live expert instruction. So it's instead of, let's say, going through the material just alone, you have the support of certified PMP professionals. Myself, I'm one of the trainers, but there's other trainers who I coordinate with in terms of just running this program. We have a comprehensive resource kit, digital study guides, process charts, mock exams, formulas, just to get you grounded with the content of the PMP exam, course. And then we also have case studies. We go through case studies. Like what we typically do is that we'll get information about the students in our class, and we'll try to, as much as possible, get case studies that are related to those industries, so that when we are going through the content, it's we are discussing things that you relate with. And we encourage a lot of those interactions, even among the peers now in the classroom, the students interacting with each other, so that we're also building on each other's experience. Someone will talk about an experience in telecoms, let's say, another one will talk about experience in healthcare, different industries whereby we solidify the knowledge that we're getting. And then we've also tried to have our scheduling as flexible as possible. So we have evenings, which typically from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. a time like now, just to ensure that those who are working, let's say, will have some time in the evening to attend a class, but we also have options for weekends for those who cannot make it during the weekdays. Lasting mentorship, we encourage our students to still contact us. For as long as you haven't sat for the PMP exam, even after the class, after going through our course, you are still able to reach through to our trainers for consultation. Any questions you might have or scenarios that you need help with, we encourage that, so that we are still mentoring you towards getting certified, and towards also improving your abilities in your workplace. Progress tracking and accountability. So during that period of the course, which takes about 3 weeks, our instructor-led course goes on for about 3 weeks. So we'll do progress tracking, just giving you different questions to work on, quizzes, group discussions, material that you will even review outside of the classroom, so that you are learning from each other, and you are enriching that experience, for your studies. And then we want to have career-driven outcomes, something that you will talk about having helped your career. Because like when I speak here, I'm talking about this PMP certification having helped my career. I want to see similar for other people, including you people here on this in this meeting. And then end-to-end support. When you want to sit for the PMP exam, there's a process which entails you filling some info on PMI websites, and there's a format that they expect you to put that information. So we guide you through that, that process, just to ensure that you are not struggling, because it can be a bit it's not very straightforward for a first timer. So we guide you through that process. But then besides that, we give you mock exams, study plans, Q&A sessions even after the class, just to ensure that once you're sitting for that exam, we want to celebrate with you at the end, that you came to us and we have guided you all the way to getting the certification. So our instructor-led program, just some highlights on the same. Our session takes it's for 14 sessions. So 14 sessions means that each session is 3 hours. So like if it was a day like today, it will be from 6 p.m. just the time we started this meeting, up to 9 p.m. So this will be session 1. So we'll have 14 such sessions, so which makes it 42 hours, which is more than the the duration you expect for the enrolling for PMP exam. They talk of 35 hours, but to make it 42 hours. We make it virtual because a lot of students have a difficulty making it to a physical classroom, especially when you find that some people are working in many cases, and so it's hard to leave a workplace and get to a physical classroom in the evening. So we make it as easy as possible so that we have it virtual. But then also, besides weekdays, we also have weekend classes just to make it easier for those who can only make it over the weekend. We give you a certificate of completion once you go through the course. And what we make sure we do is that we do some some exercises which you need to pass for us to give you that the certificate, which is just something that also confirms that even we as knowledge base have vetted you and have confirmed that you have reached a certain standard in terms of this course. But then beyond that, you can also go further and now sit for the PMP exam itself, where now you get the certificate from PMI. So our course is currently taught in English. Yes, like I said, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. typically for weekday classes. And then like I mentioned, we assist you with the registration for PMP exam. And then among the materials we make sure you get is a soft copy of the PMBOK guide, the latest one. We also give you the RITA. There's a good reading material, a document called RITA Mulkahi, one of the key resources, especially for those preparing for the exam. And you also provide other material. Like we just ensure that by the time you are done with the course, you are ready to go and sit for the PMP exam. And then some exam preparation strategies, just some highlights on what you will need to do if you're preparing for the exam. You need to understand the exam blueprint. There's normally a blueprint which talks about the exam, and there's something called the exam content outline, which talks about which domains the exams typically come from, how those different sections are weighted, the weighting of the different areas of the content, so that you know where to focus on as you prepare for the exam. It's good to also use official study materials, and these are the materials that we ensure we give to you. There's another one called the Agile Practice Guide. Actually, besides the PMBOK Guide 7, we also give you the Agile Practice Guide, which is, one of the documents that talks a lot about Agile practices, like if you're into software development and the likes, the sprint planning, things to do with the Agile Manifesto and all of those. So these are, enough content so that you are able to sit and pass the exam. It's good also to have a good study, a realistic study plan. I normally tell my students that perhaps one of the first projects you need to embark on after this course is coming up with a project of how to study for the PMP exam. Like you handle it as a project, so that you have a study plan that you follow, more or less like you're executing a project, and this is something that will help you, pass the exam, the first time. It's advisable, where possible, join a study group, and it's good also. We have a forum on our side. We have a WhatsApp group which you could also join, where we are going to start encouraging a lot of these peer discussions and just interactions among peers, people who are, let's say, looking for the same thing in life, let's say. So it's something that is quite encouraged, and it's typically out of even just general experience that you'll find when you are in a group, you are able to get better outcomes than when you try to do things alone. What you'll also even realize is that projects, even as you talk of you being a project manager, let's say, you execute the projects through the team. It's typically a team effort. And so you, the project manager, is perhaps the leader of the team, but ideally the deliverables, you're only able to get them via, through the help of the team. And so there's always better outcomes when you do things as a group. And then we also, as you study, to focus more on the application. And again, what you even see a lot around the structure, around how PMI have structured it, they tend to focus a lot more on the practical side of it. So that when you are talking about even the theories, the different knowledge areas, for example, risk management, quality management, stakeholder management, communication management, human resource management, all of those knowledge areas, you will always talk about the practical aspect of it, so that when you're getting these theories to understand how you handle things, you are talking about them from a very practical approach, so that it's not just is a piece of paper that you're looking for. You're looking to be a leader, project leader, somebody who can deliver outcomes for organizations, besides having that certification. Yeah, and so it's like I said before, you can reach out to us to take advantage of this course. As I have mentioned, we are running it currently at a 50% discount, which is quite something that most of our competitors you'll find this course going for much higher than this $300, but we are running it for a short period of time at 50%. And like I said, we want as many of you to get certified as possible. And even besides the certification, just gain the knowledge and skills required to execute projects. So you can reach out to us via these contacts here, and we'll guide you through enrollment, and you can speak further as we go through the instructor-led course. Our next cohort is starting on the 7th of July. That is not this Monday, but the other Monday. That's when our next cohort is starting. But again, just to mention that every first Monday of the month, Monday of the month, we start our next cohort. So if you're looking at, let's say, August, it will be the first Monday of August, like that, all the way to the end of the year. So that's it in terms of the presentation. I'm going to ask any questions that you people might have. Yeah, just you can raise your questions and you can talk about them. And thanks for listening to this presentation. Any questions?
Okay, guys. So now is the time in case you have any question that you need addressed, you have any concerns. Yes,
I see Ronald raise. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Eliud, for taking us through this wonderful presentation. So I just have a simple question, and mine is, how long does it take to get the certificate? As in, after doing the examinations and after you're done with the course. So how long does it take to get the certificate? Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So okay, that's a good question. Thanks for that. So once you finish the course, we give you knowledge base gives you a certificate of completion that is immediately after the course. But then for the PMP certificate, what you do is that you will need to do an application via PMI website. So you do an application whereby you put in the portal. You log into the portal and key in your details, like your email address, your name, just some basic information. And then once you set up your profile, you click on a place where you enroll to sit for the exam. So once you do this enrollment, they will ask you for certain information, like, have you done a course on PMP? How much experience do you have in project management? Questions which I told you earlier that we guide you through. And so once you do that, the PMI will look at the information you have given, and then once they acknowledge that it's okay to go ahead to pay for the exam, then you schedule the date you want to do the exam. So once you get that approval, you have a period of 1 year. From the approval date, you have 365 days to sit for the exam. That means that once you make the payment and you schedule for once you make the payment and once you are approved and you make the payment, you have 1 year within which to sit the exam. So it's up to you to decide when. And again, just to note that nowadays you can do the exam from your home environment. You don't have to go to a physical center, because that used to be a limitation for some students, that you find maybe you're working in a remote place of your country, and it's perhaps not possible to go to a physical center. So nowadays, with just a good internet connection and with a good, let's say, camera on your laptop, you're able to sit for the exam. So now to answer your question, it's up to you to decide when you want to sit for the exam. And as soon as you sit for the exam, the certificate is also given immediately, once you pass the PMP exam. Yeah, so I hope I've answered your question. Sandrine, I see Sandrine raising her hand.
Yes.
But I hope I had answered the previous question. I'm hoping I answered the question. Just before Sandrine, you asked a question. I hope I answered the previous question. Is there anything that wasn't clear with the previous question?
Ronald confirms it's answered.
Okay, perfect. Sandrine, go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much for this session. Really appreciate all the details shared with us. So I would say I have something that I kind of got mixed up in my head. If you could go back to the previous slide. So again, there's a
go
place
back.
where there is a schedule, yes. I think a timeline. So yeah, this one. So
this one, okay.
Yeah, yep. So I was confused with that part that says the course lasts for 14 sessions with classes every month. Does that mean we only get to have one class in an entire month? I want to understand the format.
Sorry, okay, I get you. So so here, what I mean is that where each class, each cohort, if you understand a cohort, each cohort goes for 42 hours. So 3 hours per session for 14 sessions. So one cohort goes on for 14 sessions. Each session is 3 hours. So for example, if we started on Monday this week, we will do the 5 days this week, which will be 15 hours. Another 5 sessions next week, which will be another 15 hours. That makes it 30. And the week after, the third week, will be 4 sessions, making it 14 sessions. And that week, it will be 12 hours. So that means 15 plus 15 plus 12, that's 42 hours. So that's one cohort. After that, you finished your session. So if, let's say, you could not make it for, let's say, this session, you want to come for next month's session, it will be a similar arrangement where you start again, 14 sessions, 3 hours. So that will be a totally separate session.
Okay, I get it now. So that means the classes are scheduled every day for 3 hours.
Yes, every day for 3 hours. And it's only, to clarify, it's only weekdays, so Monday to Friday. So 3 hours every day, Monday to Friday, but 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. for the weekdays ones with weekday classes. So 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. every day, but weekdays only. So it will be Monday to Friday for about 3 weeks, more or less. Like 5 days this week, 5 days next week, and 4 days the other week. So every day except weekends.
And by the end of those 3 weeks, someone is fully ready to take on the exam. Like if they've really been active in the...
Yes, if they're attentive, yes. And of course, again, we give you enough material even after the class, such that you can do your revisions, practice questions, and all that, because you want to sit the exam when you're ready, feel you're ready for it, the PMP exam. So nobody's rushing you to do it, let's say, tomorrow. So for some students, they're very fast, some are a bit slow, which is human nature. But then you will schedule for it when you feel like you're ready. But ideally, after the class, you have all the concepts to sit for the exam.
Got it. So that certificate on the end, a compression certificate is provided. Is it the PMI certificate or the inside knowledge? Okay, no, knowledge space certificate.
That is now, yes, I get you. That's a knowledge-based certificate, something that confirms that you have taken that course. This certificate is also part of the information you'll need to give to PMI when you are registering for the PMP exam. They will ask you if you've taken a course, so you can use that certificate to show them that you've taken a course. But ideally, that certificate at the end of the course, which is given immediately, is an internal one. So the PMI one you'll get once you sit for the PMP exam. But the info we give you, that certificate plus proof of your training, is part of the info you'll need to give PMI to sit for the exam.
I see. Okay, so I think that clears everything. So my last question would be, how often do you start this program? Let's say if this one is starting on 7th of July, if I got it right.
Correct.
When is the next one likely to happen? And is this like the first code that has ever happened, or you've been running
We've
them?
been we've been running them for a while now. Actually, just to make it simple, we run the course. If you're not sure, the course starts on the first Monday of the month. So if, let's say, the month starts, the first is, let's say, on Saturday. Let's say first is on Saturday. So second will be Sunday. So the third of the month we start a cohort. Like, so the first, essentially, if you look at your calendar, the first Monday of the month, the
So it
first
begins
Monday after the
every
month has started,
first Monday of the month.
every first Monday of the month. So if you look at the 7th of July, will be the first Monday of that month. Actually, I think first is, I think, a Tuesday, if I'm not wrong.
The
First of
first is
July,
on
I think, is a
Tuesday. It's
Tuesday.
going to be on
Yes,
Tuesday.
so yes, and that's why the first of the first Monday of the month will happen on the 7th of July. And the same for August and the likes. It should be every first Monday of the month.
All right. So thank you very much. So another question is, aside from the live session that happens, which I think class setting, and someone is delivering a lecture, is there like some pre-recorded courses that someone is asked to watch, maybe on the PMI platform? Like, how does the learning structure looks like? If you take us
Okay.
through what it looks like before someone begins, when they're into it, and afterwards.
Okay, so what we do is that before we start the course itself, we'll send you some preliminary information, like some info about what the course will entail, the timings of the course, all of that, just some preliminary info, plus some pre-study material, which you can go through the class. So, but when the class starts, the sessions are quite dynamic, because what we'll do is that there'll be a variation of a number of things. So we can go through some presentations, and then at some point we might watch a video clip on, let's say, communication management, for example. So we watch a clip and have a discussion around that clip. We'll also have case studies, whereby you're given a case study which you go and study, in your own free time. Sometimes if the students are many, we can pair them or have a number of students handling a case study. And then you come answer some questions and then come and discuss, so that we're also hearing from other people different perspectives. The lecturer can, the trainer like myself might have a view that is just one path, but you want to hear from other people other students who are from different environments. So we'll give you those case studies, which we'll discuss and come and do a presentation in the classroom. Sometimes we'll also, in all the classes, actually, at the end of the session, we'll go through a number of questions, like, let's say, 15 or so questions, just to reinforce the content that we've gone through. So the classes vary, but by and large, that's what we go through in each of the sessions, that we look at all those different parameters, so that by the end of the 14 sessions, you have quite an enriching experience. And then after the class also, we will do some exam, which is part of what informs the certificate that you get, because we also want to make sure that students are engaged. So you do a set of questions which you expect to reach, get a certain percentage before now give you the certificate. And of course, you can do it a couple of times. The idea is just to get the knowledge. And so it's not like, even if you get a low mark in the first time, you'll perhaps have to you do some of the questions, but essentially everybody gets a certificate at the end of the session. And then besides that, like I mentioned, there's quite a lot of content we'll give you, like practice questions, a lot of them. The Rita Mulcahy, one of the documents that is quite good in studies. And then again, the PMBOK Guide 7, the latest version. There's the Agile Manifesto, the document, which is from PMI. A lot of content that you take home with you for your own studies. Plus, of course, the slides we use for the class, the sessions. So you have quite a lot of content even to go through after the class now when you're preparing to sit for the PMP exam.
All right. So there's things to watch, there are case studies to work on, and I guess it varies depending on the module.
Yes, that's correct.
So now to my last question, when do someone pay that $149, And is it paid on your platform? Like, is it Knowledge Space a platform where we can find all these learning resources? How does the payment look like?
Yeah, so the payment, it depends on the mode you want to use to make the payment. So you can pay by us giving you our bank account, our USD bank account, and so you'll need to, you could make payment to, from your home country, you can make payment to our bank account. For the Kenyans here, you can pay, and plus anyone, you can also pay via M-Pesa if you prefer to pay via PayBill. You can also pay via a link. If you want to run a card, we can send you a secure link, which is via our payment provider. So we send you a link whereby you just put in your name and you run your card online using that secure link. And so this are the options. There's quite enough options. So you just need to tell us which option you prefer to make payment via, and we'll send you the details that you need to make that payment. You can also pay via PayPal if that's a preference, but so we have quite a diverse modes of payment.
All right. When is the payment made? I'm not sure I got that.
You could make payment even right away because there's nothing stopping it because the class for sure starts on the 7th. So you can pay.
I mean, before the program, midway the program, or after the program? I'm saying
No,
when
you pay.
is starting.
No, you pay before you start. You have to pay before the program starts. So ideally, you should make payment before the 7th of July. Let's say by that weekend, let's say by Friday of before the 7th, you should need to have made payment. Because that's the only way we secure your slot for the session.
I see. I don't know if there would be an option to pay in installments, but that can come later. Thank you very much.
Okay, we can discuss that offline, but yeah, but we are a bit quite flexible. But the thing is, that should not limit you as such, not even paying by, let's say, installment. But ideally, we'll need, let's say, at least a significant part of the payment done before the class starts, and then the rest of the payment done, let's say, within, let's say, the first week of the cohort.
All right, appreciate the
Yeah, and that's a
flexibility.
concession we'll give for people who are, let's say, on this meeting right now, who are hearing this information. We'll give those concessions because the other ones might not even be aware about such. But the point is, we tend to be quite flexible because, like I said at the beginning, that our desire is to get as many people certified as possible. And even things like payments and the likes, we know that there's always the competing needs. These are something we also talk about in project management, that you balance among a lot of things. So we tend to be flexible. That's something we will not disagree on.
All right. Thank you very much. I think someone has asked how much it costs to do the entire program, considering your own charges and then the PMI charges. If you do an estimate, it was a question in the chat, by the way. Thank you, though. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Andrine, and I'm happy you asked those questions. Yeah, it's good you ask those questions. So for the total cost, you just do $149 plus. Okay, that's for the course itself, the instructor-led course, and then there's $4 or $5 for the exam. So you can do just a summation of those two. You get the cost, approximate cost of the halls, to what it entails to get certified. So we'll be sharing these slides with you, but you can, if you are looking at the cost, there's also a variation between whether you are a PMI member or not. So you'll do whatever those costs are on the slide, just add $149 and you'll get a rough, good estimate of how much it will cost you. But like I also mentioned, right now PMI is doing some promotion for people who are PMI members. So you might, if it's something you will consider, it's going for the exam itself is going for around $284. $284 if you are a member of PMI. So you will just need to add now that to 84 plus 129, which is the PMI membership. And if it's something you can do like right away, but you also have to have estimated that you can sit for the exam within the next 1 year period, then it's something you will consider perhaps. Any other question?
Yeah, so I had one more question. I just want to
Yes.
inquire, God forbid, if you sit for the exam and you don't make it, do you still have
Yes.
to go through the entire training before, or you just schedule an exam
Not
and
quite, not quite. Actually, yeah, that's a good question, good question. So the only thing that will vary, and let me go back on the slides, yeah, this one, the only thing that you will need to do is you have to pay again, unfortunately, but it's a smaller amount. You see here $275 for members and $375 for non-members, but you don't have to sit and to go through another class because you'll now just practice on your own and just make sure you have a good estimation of when you feel you're ready, and you can go ahead and sit the exam. You don't have to sit. You go through another course again.
Uh,
Eh,
I think looking at the PMI membership,
Yeah.
when someone gets the membership, do they have access
Yeah.
to learning resources? Is it like a platform where you can even self-study? What's on the platform that benefits someone who is trying to take on this
Okay,
course?
on the platform as a member, I'm actually a member myself, but I normally register for some period of time. There's normally a number of templates that you will find. Templates you'll find a project management plan document. You can also download that PMBOK guide, that guidebook, a 300-page some document. You can download it from there, like as an individual copy. You have also, as a project manager, there's some AI tools you can use for your project. Let's say you feed in certain information, and the document, the platform can advise you how best to handle a situation, or it can generate for you a template to use. So there's some freebies you get, but then for for studies, you might there could be some courses, but this ones will typically be on-demand courses, but then the only thing you get is a small discount on those courses. It's not like you get them for free. For the courses, you still have to pay, but you might get some discounts just by being a PMI member. So there's some resources you get for sure. And what I typically do myself, maybe I'll tell you what I do. When I need to renew my certificate, which is every 3 years, I pay this one $29 and then download anything that is useful on that platform. And then I'll wait for the next 3 years where there might be some new things that have come up, which I'll now download again when that time comes. Because you can see it's $129 per year. My personal view is that that's a bit high to be paying per year. And the thing is, those free resources, you download them once, and perhaps in another 3 years, that's when you find new resources. So for sure, it's a platform you can find useful info. And then also for somebody who wants to get certified, you also get it cheaper. It's cheaper to be a PMI member when you want to sit for the exam. So I always encourage students also, when you want to register, when you want to sit for the exam, register as a PMI member, you'll pay less, and then also maximize on those resources for that time.
All right. Thank you very much.
And guys, also feel free, even after this session, some questions might come even after, including PMP or project management specific questions. You can just write to us using the info, and we share these slides. Just write an email and just put a comment. We will still get back to you. So don't feel limited that it's only for during this session that you're answering your questions. We can even engage even post after this session.
Appreciate the support and the time to take us through everything today. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Welcome. You're welcome. Any other question? Any other question? Okay, Mary, maybe you can finalize this. Hello. Okay, I believe Mary was having some challenges with power, as she had mentioned earlier. So guys, thanks a lot again, and we really appreciate you making time for this. It's a journey that I will encourage all of us to walk together. Let those of us who walked ahead of you guys also see how we can support you and guide you, and again, we shall learn a lot from each other. Feel free to reach out at any point, and thanks a lot for making it for this session. We are going to end the session at this point, and have a good evening, all of you, and let's keep interacting.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.